Oh my. Welcome back. Ian Hayes, aka Mama G, co-creator, along with the prime creator of Fiercely Fulfilled Feminine, where I help star seeds to heal sexual trauma, reclaim their power, and experience true fulfillment. You see, I operate on the resonant frequency of sovereignty. What else? True power in the goddess warrior. See, I am here to support you as well to dissolve the sexual misery programs on the planet through sacred sexuality reclaimed. And what I do for my students is I help to cultivate healthy pleasure. I help my students to reconnect to the wisdom of their body, to be able to step into their purpose with passion and authentic alignment, to be able to embrace their body just as it is with absolute confidence. And what else? I'm cheating because I'm nervous today. I'm just going to jump right in. I'm going to be honest. I am actually feeling anxious about this topic. Yeah, as I raise my voice, I'm trying to, ooh, and I can feel the physical sensations. I can feel the increase in the heart rate. And it's exactly what I'm about to talk about today. So here it is, sexual arousal. To masturbate or not, anxiety awareness. Now, first of all, a little disclaimer. I am not a sex therapist. I do not help people with their sexual health, although I do. Okay. And I'm not a sex worker. When I say sex worker, I mean, I believe that there is a sacred way that sex work can be done. And I'm not going to go into that today, but I'm not any of that. In a way, I guess I don't know. Anyways, yeah. I'm nervous here. So, first of all, I believe that heightened pleasure and orgasm, I promote it. Okay. I mean, there are clearly a multiple of benefits. And all the releases of these healthy hormones and neurotransmitters that really, really bring pleasure, relaxation to the body and calmness to the body. There's a lot of good stuff for the body in heightened pleasure and in an orgasm. Okay. And I believe in the daily orgasm. Okay. And yeah, anyways, with that being said, I really would like to speak to this is something that I wasn't aware of for a long time, and I don't think a lot of people are aware of is here's the deal is that sexual arousal and anxiety can pretty much feel the same way in the body. It's the increase in the heart rate, it's the increase in the blood flow. You might feel a little something like fluttery stuff in the belly. That could either be anxiety or anticipation of a beautiful sexual encounter about to happen. Okay, maybe even like a little flutter in the chest. I'm going to say right now, the physical sensations in the body with, for example, if you're dealing with a particularly vulnerable or anxious situation or just having an anxious moment, are the same as those when you're about to experience a sexual encounter. And so, why I'm about to share why I believe it's important for you to know the difference. I'm going to share two specific reasons as to why your mind and your body may be confused as to which it actually is, how you can help to determine that for yourself, how you can address those sexual urges if they are, in fact, coming from anxiety so that you can recondition that because you want to be able to anticipate a beautiful experience and it shouldn't feel like anxiety. It should feel like anticipatory revelry, whatever, bliss. Okay. And I'm going to share a little bit of my own experience. So here's the deal. I do a lot of research. I get myself involved in trainings. I like to learn a lot about just sexual energy in general, on a spiritual level, on a scientific level. So I like to come at it from all angles so that I'm fully informed. And then I believe that the most powerful aspect to me when I bring it all together is my own personal experience. So when I put that all together with science, knowledge, the research, the spirituality, and it's like, wow, okay, this makes sense. Okay. And human behavior and psychology, I'm going to throw that in there as well. So this has the tendency to be pretty powerful. So as I get into this, I'm feeling less aroused because I was feeling aroused and I still am a little bit. I'm just being 100% honest and anxious. It's more about my anxiety. And so the way I addressed that today was just to breathe a little bit, take a step outside, come back, and then just get to this. Okay, so first of all, like I said, I always have notes because it's important for me to stay focused and on track. I promote masturbation, I promote self-pleasure. There's no right or wrong. However you're doing it, don't shame yourself. You're right where you're meant to be, I believe. However, if you're here, there's something in you that would like to desire to know a little bit more about, wow, what is she talking about when she says anxiety awareness and to masturbate or not? Like, shouldn't I just always masturbate if I have the desire to? So there's something that has piqued your interest here. So you're meant to be here. Okay. So where are we? Okay. We've already talked about, okay, increased heart rate, increased adrenaline. Here's the deal. And I'm going to go into this a little bit in more depth as we go on. Like I said, the physical sensations match each other as far as sexual arousal and feeling particularly anxious when you around a situation. Okay. So, okay, here's the deal. There's basically the mind and the body become confused. And I'm focusing specifically on anybody who has a history or a past history of sexual trauma. Because, and I'm going to explain the nature of the sexual trauma can actually create mind-body confusion as to what is really going on around one's sexual arousal. Okay. So, for example, your body may think like maybe you're preparing for a speech and you're really nervous about standing up in front of all these people and how you may or may not be judged. Okay. You maybe there's a little bit of confidence that you'd like a little extra of, and you're feeling particularly anxious. It might feel like you're sexually aroused. And again, or not. Yet, if you've had a past history of sexual trauma, chances are that that sexual arousal is something that has been conditioned. Okay. Like I said, I'm going to get to this. This is going to be a pretty quick one today. Going to feel like masturbation instead of self-pleasure, but it's all good no matter how it unfolds. Okay. So, so like I said, I'm going to share as to why there might be some confusion and then some ways to address the arousal if you, in fact, determine that perhaps it could be a conditioned response to past trauma. And, oh, okay. Forgive me, I am nervous here, but I'm just going to go through. I'm not going to edit this. Okay. First of all, one way that sexual arousal may or anxiety can show up as sexual arousal is that the past trauma may have actually conditioned you to associate anxiety with sexual arousal. Now, let me be really specific and give you an example. And I'm going to be very personal here and very vulnerable. Now, one of my traumas, because I had more than one laugh as a defense mechanism, I'm ready to release emotions today. So I'm being super vulnerable today. And this is a tough topic for me because I've had a lot of shame around it. So, where was I? Okay, so for me, for about 10 years as a child, starting very, very young, and the only reason I know it was very, very young was because of family videos, starting probably about 2 years old, maybe younger. We would have not a member within my nuclear family, but it's part of the extended family that we would see about once a week. And so that's when my abuse would occur, and I would call it torture and rape and mind control. And it was pretty intense. And I blacked out many times. Obviously, it was painful. It was scary. It was traumatic. And it created a whole lot of confusion around sex, love, you name it. And So essentially, at the same time, it is going to sound, if you've experienced this, it's not going to sound crazy. If you haven't, then you wouldn't get it. But you actually, as scared as you are, anticipating that next, if this is repeated, especially trauma for you, you're anticipating that next traumatic experience. And at the same time, you're excited because even though it is a sexual violation and there is not consent, and you know that ultimately it is morally and ethically wrong for this adult to be doing what they're doing to you, it feels good. It feels good because sexual stimulation is meant to feel good. It's a divine gift. It releases those feel good hormones. So there's a little bit of confusion right out the gate, right there. So for me, it would be like, it would happen, and then all right, I'm navigating during the week, and I'm like, oh, wow, okay, relief. I get a break from this, okay? I'm safe. I'm good. This person is not around right now. Um, and, and I more or less felt safe and I didn't because there was other stuff going on, but I'm not going to go into that for today. So I felt the anticipation of being around this particular person again, at least once a week, or any time that, we were visiting family, and I would feel anxiety. Oh my God, oh, oh no, I don't want to go. I don't want this person to come over. I don't want to be around this person. Tremendous anxiety, debilitating anxiety, anticipation, and at the same time, sexual arousal. Yeah. So that's where obviously this, I'm still handling this, is a mixed mind body signal. And then there's the shame on top of that because you're like, this is effed up. Like, I'm turned on by this person who is torturing me. And I'm keeping it a secret. And I secretly desire it. Yeah. If that's not enough, do you get what I'm saying? So you become conditioned, whether you're conscious it or not. And it's part of the reason why I'm here is to help to bring that awareness to you of why there's confusion between is this sexual arousal or is this anxiety? And do I want to give in to this sexual urge and masturbate right now? Am I going to continue this repeating loop where I associate anxiety with sexual arousal with anxiety, and then it doesn't 100% feel good, honestly, because on a deep level, there is pain associated with that. There is trauma that is still there. There are trapped emotions. And that's what brings us into the second reason why you may be experiencing sexual arousal as it relates again to anxiety. So here's the deal. I'm going to back up and give you a little bit of science. What trauma does, it's not the event itself, it's the response or the impact of the event or series of events that creates trauma in your system. And I've said this before. Your nervous system naturally will process any challenging situation in your life, and then boom, boom, it's done. And you're good to go and you move on. You know, you're safe, you're nurtured, protected, except when you're not. And sexual trauma, by its very nature, and most trauma, is like you're not going to automatically be held and nurtured and comforted and reminded that you're safe and you're protected, because here's the deal. You weren't safe and you weren't protected because this is a violation of the highest magnitude in my opinion, okay, from personal experience. It's the depth and the magnitude of the violation there. So what happens is, in order for the body to survive, it's a survival mechanism. The body or the nervous system will literally shut down parts of it, and those emotions will not be expressed. And you'll have actually dense energies. You'll have like these neural just like you have these nodes throughout your body, you have all the information traveling throughout your nervous system from the neurons, little bunches of neurons back to the brain back to these neural. I'm not using the right, forgive me. I'm not getting the science coming in my brain right now because I'm a little nervous. So, yeah. Anyways, you have little pockets of dense energy, which is literally trapped emotions. Remember, everything is energy. And that interrupts with your chi and the free flow of your life force energy. So I'm not going to talk about what comes about as a result of that, because I've included that in other videos. However, it's literally you on unconscious, your body will suppress those emotions. Okay, I'm trying to remember the depth between repress and suppress. I'm forgetting, and I apologize. I just did this the other day. I believe that repression is unconscious and suppression is conscious. Like, oh, you're going to have a difficult conversation, you'd rather avoid it. That's suppression, whereas repression. If I get this right, check for me, please. And if I'm wrong, put it in the comments. I have no problem with that. Is an unconscious or subconscious, like pushing down of emotions. And so what happens is it creates more and more tension in the body, literally. And so there's anger, there's usually sadness, deep, deep sadness. It's pain and hurt associated with trauma. And above that is typically anger. Okay. Above the anger is anxiety. You see, anxiety is a symptom or result of over time trying to, whether it's conscious or not, is like pushing down the anger and the sadness and those very uncomfortable, unpleasant emotions. At the very base of it is fear. Okay. So that's what anxiety is. And so if you are feeling sexually aroused, obviously, if you're looking at porn, if you're in front of someone who's really sexy and hot, and it's your loved one or whatever, you're going to get turned on. Okay. However, if there's really no reason for you to, maybe you're in the middle of a work project or whatever, I don't know, and you feel that sexual arousal, it could be as simple as, not simple, but it could be spiritual bypass. So, what do I mean by that? Spiritual bypassing is when you look to avoid healing or the expression of discomfortable emotions so that you can actually grow and evolve and increase in your overall awareness and your overall core frequency so that you become more loving, you open up your heart more, you become more open to your true divine nature and your true authentic self. That is what spirituality is about. And I believe we're all here on a spiritual journey. And so spiritual bypassing is saying, oh, I'm not going to feel that right now. I don't want to feel that discomfort. So I'm going to go around it. I'm going to avoid, I'm going to escape it. And this is how I'm going to do it. So masturbation or sexual arousal, when it's actually anxiety, is one way to actually avoid feeling those uncomfortable emotions and avoiding healing the grief. Anxiety is unhealed grief, unhealed trauma. It's painful emotions being pushed down that are asking to be expressed. And so now here's the thing. If you just feel better and you masturbate before you go to bed because it just chills you out and it relaxes you and it helps you to sleep, like I said, I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to tell you what's right or wrong. You know your body. You know what you need right now. And there's a quote by CC Toussaint, I forget. Someone I connected to, a friend of mine actually shared this person with me, and she said, your sex drive is normal for your situation. And I love that. Your sexual arousal, whenever it happens, is normal for your situation. However, so whatever you choose to do is up to you. I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to shame you. I'm not here to tell you right from wrong. You're on your path and you're going to get where you personally need to go based on, I believe, your unique divine blueprint. I'm simply here to share the awareness that I've come into. And I feel it's a responsibility for me to share that. And you can do with it what you want. Okay, you can do with it what you want. You may agree or not, and that's okay. You don't need to. So, anyways, feeling the emotions. I know when I'm feeling particularly anxious, I know, okay, there's something here that wants to be released. There's something that my body is finally ready to let go of. And am I going to assist my body? Am I going to be able to ground myself, tap back in, and allow my body to let go of those emotions? You see, anxiety is taking us outside of our body. We're disconnecting, disassociating. So this, I always end with some suggestions, recommendations, and strategies that you can choose to use and not to help bring you back into your body, to ground you so that you can actually address the anxiety, have the release if that's what you need, begin to recondition so that you are not associating anxiety or a particularly anxious event with sexual arousal. Okay. Because you want to be able to condition it for, oh my God, okay, I'm sexually aroused in at a time when it makes sense and when it's appropriate to be aroused. I don't want to use the word appropriate. Like it kind of fits the situation. Okay. All right. In other words, is it escapism? Are you avoiding? Or is it just good, healthy, divine sexual pleasure, whether with yourself or with somebody else or other selves? Okay. So Um, let's see here. So I've already experienced, I shared what I experienced. All right. So again, it can keep you in a loop if you do not have the awareness of it, and it can actually become an addiction if you are choosing to push the emotions down. And I don't want to say choosing because I don't think it's a conscious choice. I think it's part of your divine blueprint, okay? Because that's what it was for me. I distracted myself. I would avoid. I I didn't understand how anxiety functioned. I wasn't connected to my body. I spent years distracting myself and dealing with very debilitating anxiety because I just didn't know. And that was my divine blueprint. And I'm good to go with that. All right. I'm where I am now. So here's what you can do. Number one is, first of all, if you think this might be you and you tend to experience a lot of anxiety in particular, when a sexual urge comes about or you feel sexually aroused and you're not looking at porn or anything else, or maybe you have a desire to go look at porn before you do, before you give into that urge, just stop, take a walk, go outside, take a walk. You might even need a cold shower. Take some breaths and just, and I would say at this point, you want to take maybe some couple of quick breaths followed by a very long exhale, because what that does is it calms the body. It calms in other words, if you're feeling sexually aroused, there's an increase in heart rate, blood flow, increase in the production of adrenaline. So what that does when it's two quick breaths followed by a short one, it immediately calms the body down because it accesses sex. Oh my God. Parasympathetic nervous system, which automatically calms the body. It brings you into the present. Okay. And when you're present and the more still you are, you have more clarity. It reduces the number of thoughts. Okay. And it'll actually kind of calm or cool that sexual arousal. Maybe, maybe not. It depends on your own body. Depends on your own physiology. However, you really want to do the best that you can is to not give into that sexual urge right away. So you ground the body. Grounding is really important. You go outside, take a walk around the block. Like I said, a cold shower is a great way to ground the body, believe it or not, or just something, a real quick cold, whatever, splash in the face, whatever it is, you know that works for you. And those are a couple of examples. And then what I would do is ask yourself, ask your body, am I avoiding something? Are you ready to let go or release some emotions that I can assist you with? And then I would say lie down and put your left hand on your heart, because that's the that's feminine energy. It's nurturing. And then put your other hand on your belly, because you're probably experiencing the anxiety in both those places and just nice, soothing, self-nurturing. So one hand on the I don't need to show you, one hand on the belly and one hand on the heart. Lie down and just keep breathing. And like I said, if for whatever reason you get the urge to touch yourself to masturbate and you do it, don't shame yourself. That's okay. Next time, next go around, maybe you try it again. Or maybe you seek out a sex therapist or a sex educator or, excuse me, or somebody who works specifically and understands sexual trauma, not just any therapist, somebody who understands sexual trauma. You see, a lot of people will go to a sex therapist when they're having issues in their partnership, in their relationship, but not many people think to do it because they've experienced sexual trauma because there's not if it were like me, I didn't have the awareness that, oh my God, whenever I get anxious, I am sexually aroused. Okay, not like I used to be, but for me, I noticed that still, if I'm about to do something very challenging, I feel sexual arousal. And that was like getting on here and doing this today because I'm talking about this topic. I was sexually aroused right before I got on, and still to a certain extent now because I've been, still learning to disassociate and to recondition myself as far as, okay, is this anxiety or is this true sexual arousal? Is this just my body saying, and you haven't self-pleasured in a couple of days, it's time to nurture yourself, to tap in and just to enjoy that healthy divine pleasure. So, yeah. So let's see. You want to recondition. Because here's the deal. Oh, here's the deal. So when do you go back and masturbate or self-pleasure? For me, masturbate is just real quick, get that dopamine hit, feel release, get the release, feel relaxed, okay? Whereas self-pleasure is taking a little bit more time and it's more self-nurturing and it shows more self-devotion and it just incorporates more parts of the body and it's multi-sensory. Okay, instead of going right in for that quick dopamine fix, it allows the pleasure to last and that blissful feeling to last for longer periods of time. Anyways, there's no right or wrong way. So here's the deal with spiritual bypassing, and I want to share this because this is what came to me. Yes, masturbation will help to release the anxiety. You will feel calmer. You will feel better. You will feel more relaxed. However, you will go back and you will go back to baseline. The baseline is going to include where the hormones drop, okay, you feel good, relaxed. It'll also be a baseline of you still having those trapped emotions which were not released. So it's the release without the release. So the idea is to be able to increase your overall core frequency, and that's where healing comes in. And the best way to be able to recondition and to really develop healthy sexual pleasure, seriously, and more intimacy, starting with oneself. I have not experienced this yet with a partner. I have been preparing myself by doing it with me first. And there's power in doing it with yourself first. That's truly how we best heal. Let me get intimate with me. Let me learn how to tap into my own needs and my own desires and to do it in a healthy, balanced way where I'm present and I'm bringing God, I'm bringing the divine in the mix. Okay. So I did it. I'm going on and on here. Anyways, release those emotions. Okay. I'm sensing that, I don't know. This was a challenging one for me to share. I haven't uploaded it yet, but hey, I've done it. I'm here. I was guided to share this today, and I feel great about it. I feel great. I know, like, my kids may watch this, maybe not, maybe they will. My mother, who knows? And guess what? This is real. We need to talk about it. It's not talked about enough. And so if you have any questions, comments, feedbacks, drop them in there. And a like and a subscribe and a share even would be very, very beneficial so that more people could have access to this information. And of course, always feel free to DM me. I've got my information in there, my link tree. You can easily get in touch with me. And I also have an online 2 hour, what I call a joy shop coming up. Activate your inner goddess, tapping into your sacred sexuality, where I help you start to increase your awareness. Okay. Forgive me, it's happening Monday, September 15th. 11:33 a.m. to 1:33 p.m. Pacific Coast, California, USA time. And what I actually do is yeah, I zero in a little bit on that sacral chakra. However, recognizing that your body is an ecosystem, and I have specific tools, strategies, and insight to really help you to heal and also to tap in and to be able to balance, especially that sacral chakra and the beauty of what the healthy free flow of your sexual energy can do. You see, you don't want the underflow and you don't want the overflow. You want it balanced because there are some as a symptom of sexual trauma who experience hypersexuality, and that can create discomfort in the body. So that's imbalanced and overexpression. Whereas the other aspect and the other polarity is a complete repression of sexual desire. And that is just as unhealthy. Okay. So what I do is to help bring you into balance because there are so many beautiful benefits of reclaiming your sacred sexuality and healing your sexual trauma, and releasing that grief around it. So, yeah, because when you do that, you feel a lot lighter, you feel a lot more relaxed. You can truly enjoy intimacy with yourself and then with others. Okay. In a way that I imagine you've never done that before. Now, I'm 61 years old. I've been in menopause for quite a long time because I went through IVF and I took a lot of medications and so yeah, used a lot of eggs. Used a lot of eggs. So, and I don't take any hormone replacement therapy, and I don't have a problem with self-pleasure because I'm tapped in. Because anyways, I'm not gonna I love to share the tools and the ways that I've been able to come about with that because to be honest, it got to a point where my body became a source of pain and rejection and feeling abandoned and oh my God, this, that I got to a point where I just completely repressed my sexuality where I wasn't even touching myself. Um, and that's an extreme. Okay. So if you want to bring that back or you simply want to balance it out, whether you're overexpressed or you believe that you're underexpressed and you just like to experience more divine, healthy pleasure and what the benefits of the free flow of sexual energy can do for you in your life, then yeah, jump on in, literally. So there it is. It's do you masturbate? Do you not? Like I said, there's no right or wrong way. There's no right or wrong way. So grab that link in the comments. I would love to see you at this online event coming up real quick in a few days. And I also, if you're in the Santa Barbara, California, US of A area, I'm also doing an in-person event at the Soul Seeks Yoga Studio right in downtown Santa Barbara in a beautiful room known as the Sun Room. So with much love, divine pleasure, and peace. Talk soon. Love you so much. Peace.